and Mindset series. I'm here today with Nazia, and today our topic is how to have a sustainable Christmas and keep from overspending. Highly topical, this one. Maybe we should have done this like back in September or October, actually, because so many people have been spending ahead of time with logistics and all of that. But anyway, hopefully not too late, and we can look at some other tips as well. I've got some questions to ask you, Nazia. So let's just do some quick introductions for those of you who might not know us. Nazia, do you want to go ahead?
Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm Nazia Hatt from Nazia Hatt Wealth Management, and today's topic I chose because I think it's amazing and an interesting one, and one that maybe Una's correct, we should have done a bit earlier. But yes, so important to have a sustainable Christmas and kind of make that difference to your pocket. And we've still got time. You can still do a bit of planning and a bit of budgeting for it. But I hear so many horror stories in January about this scenario. And with us all having lockdown last year, this is a fact. UK government have basically, there's a UK Gov website that has done the research. People are going to spend 30% more than they usually do this year because they can have family together, because they've got the opportunity, and they felt like they were at a loss last year by not having that. They're going to go the extra mile this year. It is a known fact, and there's lots of research done on it. So it's so important that you curb your spending. A lot of people are not really thinking, but inflation is going up, guys.
Yeah.
And if you don't observe this, an average family of about 4 people, with your gas, electricity, and diesel costs and all the various costs going up, these are essential costs, you could be spending up to £3,000 to £4,000 a year. And most people are not even considering that. Your wages have not gone up £3,000 to £4,000 in most cases. Okay, but people are not thinking, because it's a direct debit for the gas, electricity, for the road tax, for the car insurance. People are not thinking and not planning. So that brings us to the most important point: budget. Okay, you have to have a budget for Christmas, not a credit card. Okay.
Okay, that's, you need to create a meme for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Go
We'll
on,
dive
Liz.
into that in a moment. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Una Doyle. I'm a business strategist and coach, and I can help any business owner to find at least an extra 50k in only 50 minutes. Let me know if you want to know how. I have a video that can share that with you. Yeah, I love that. You want to have a budget for Christmas, not a credit card. I mean, and definitely that's something for now. It's, if people didn't save up for Christmas this year, it is something they could start planning to do for next year, though, isn't it? I like to talk about some of those kind of more longer term strategies, and then let's dive into, well, what can they do now? And then maybe what do they need to do after Christmas if it's too late and they've already spent up? So stay tuned if that is you. So yeah, so in terms of longer term of like, what's the best way to do Christmas? Like, what would be your recommendations for that?
Okay, so firstly, there's a couple of components to Christmas. One is the giving, the present element, and one is the Christmas day, the Christmas dinner. So some of you are going to be having Christmas dinner with somebody, and somebody else is forking the bill. Be considerate. What's that costing? An average family, when they're getting together, is spending £33 per head on Christmas day. So if it is a brother or a sister or a mum or a dad, they're spending that. Be mindful that they are spending that, and how can you help or contribute with that if it's not coming out. Gifts are amazing because you're taking a gift, but do they need the gift, or would they prefer to have some exchange?
Cold hard cash.
food,
Yeah.
I will buy the turkey and bring it over and drop it off the day before. So be a bit mindful about that. Don't put pressure on one family member to actually supply everything for Christmas Day. Gifts. Okay, what an interesting point.
Actually, before you get into the gifts, it's really interesting what you said, because there may well have been traditions that member constantly pays, constantly does it. Oh, we always go to mum and dad's, or we always go to our sister or our brothers, maybe because they have got the bigger dining table or space to have it, or the location is more friendly to everybody, more handy. Maybe they kind of take turns. I mean, if you take turns to do it, then that's not so bad, is it? I think where there has been those traditions, it is that thing of actually, well, maybe just messaging everybody and saying, hey, listen, I know we've always done things this way, but what if we were to do it differently? How would you like us to contribute? Would you like us, to make it more of a potluck Christmas dinner, or would you like us to all bring some booze, if they drink, or soft drinks, or whatever it might be? I think that it requires a different mindset, because you've said it, but I think it actually will require people to stop and think and to behave differently. And I think in family dynamics, that can be quite an interesting thing, particularly when, like, I don't know, look, Irish hospitality, maybe it's the same for you. I suspect it might be.
Yes.
The whole thing of no, we'll do everything. Not. It's like I'm channeling. I can hear the Irish accent getting stronger. It's like you can always say. What's come to mind is, do you remember Father Ted and Mrs. Doyle? Yes, my namesake. And she'd be there with a big, huge mound of sandwiches and going, go on. And she'd be like forcing food on you. And that's kind of like Irish hospitality is,
So funny, Asians aren't far off. And like my sons would often say to the friend, you walk into a house, you're going to be fed. You're going to be fed if you like it or not, you're getting fed. It's that, thing. So yes, there's something about being nice, but you're right. And I didn't know until I did a bit of research before this call that it is £33. So when you are going and you've got a family of 4 going to another, think that £33, yes, you might buy them a box of chocolate, but really, Una's point is absolutely correct. Hardcore cash, I don't want to be rude about it, really does matter. They could be parents that are retired, inflation is costing more for them. Please be mindful. And buying a box of chocolates isn't really the answer. Maybe give them a food voucher for the future. So that's like
that's a nice one, actually, because it's more gift like,
yes.
but kind of like, here's a contribution. And actually, I think if you
Spencer's voucher or Tesco's or whatever,
yeah.
But what that does, it still allows the host to feel, oh my God, I provided and I did it all, and I didn't take money. But it's a nice kind of gift rather than just a box of chocolate or something. And I'm sure you don't just want chocolate.
Or hampers, like a Christmas hamper, but you give it a few weeks before, so then they can use some of the things in the hamper on the Christmas day.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I like the point you made. Give it earlier, because the worst thing you can do is give a hamper when they've already gone and done all the shopping. They've got this oversaturation of food. So that brings
where do you store it?
Where do you store it? But that brings me to the next point. Now let's think about sustainability, guys. And we've had a massive blowout at Christmas. We've got all that food. Now let's be mindful of how much goes in the bin, guys. So start planning in advance. Have your plastic containers ready so that if you've got loads of turkey, you can basically portion it, freeze it. Great for turkey sandwiches and to take out later. And it can keep for quite a long time. Doing that's an amazing thing. Stop thinking about in the rush chucking it all away. Okay. Part boil things. Don't do the whole thing so that you can be used on another day. So wastage is another massive one. I don't know, I don't have the statistics behind this, but the amount that the carbon footprint by you wasting food is huge, guys.
Definitely.
Because every time you're wasting, think about what happened to bring the food to your home. Okay. And it's okay if there's a smaller portion and you've got to share it out. There's something nice about that. And you've got room for dessert as well then anyway. So, and I'm sure there's going to be loads of knickknacks around. So don't overkill on your main meals. Yeah. And be mindful. Nobody's going to go home hungry. And if you have a little less on your plates, it's not going to be damaging anybody's health. So budget and have some food containers ready. Because I know we all get tired on that day and we're thinking, just want to shove everything in the dishwasher, be done with. Have them ready in preparation to do that little exercise of freezing and make the space in your freezer in advance. There's no point having the containers, but you've done a massive shop.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it is all down to planning. Okay. So that's the Christmas dinner scenario done. But now to come to presents. Okay. So Una, I'm going to ask you the question. When you receive a gift, is it the value that matters to you? When somebody
no, only kidding. No, I'm I'm actually someone who, I'm not really a gift person. And I know we've talked before about the 5 love languages. So for anyone who doesn't know how they are, there's a whole book, and you can, if you don't want to buy the book, you can do the quiz online for free. Just search 5 love languages. And the 5 love languages are words of affirmation. That's my husband. That's his primary one. Physical touch, acts of service. That's me. Gifts and quality time. So that's the 5 different ones. And so my top one is acts of service, followed very closely by quality time. Now, it's just me and Steve, my husband, so we do have plenty of time together. And acts of service is really what makes me feel loved. And actually, what we're doing for my Christmas present this year is, I'm sure many of you know, I love to sew my own vintage inspired clothes. And the other half of my office is actually my sewing area, a sewing studio, if I feel like I'm being fancy. And what we're doing is we're going to wallpaper these 2 end walls, because they're not a color that I kind of want anymore. And we're going to be rearranging things, doing storage and stuff like that. And so actually he's buying me wallpaper. And Steve's kind of like, he's comes from a family that does loads of gifts, or they used to do. It's got better, thankfully. But it used to be like a bit overboard, if anything, I would say. I was kind of a bit like, whoa. I come from a massive family, I'm one of 5. I've got many nieces and nephews and things, and we just all have got to the point where we a lot of the time we don't even, like, we'll buy presents sometimes, but not other times, and it's okay. We're not kind of really fussed about it. So when somebody, for me, the act of service of Steve helping me to do the wallpapering, because I know he doesn't like that, of him helping me to move all the furniture around, because some of it is quite big and heavy, and so the time and effort that he's putting into that's what means so much to me. And and he would love to kind of be buying me all these different things, but I'm just really not bothered. I love, don't get me wrong, it's nice to get gifts. I don't say no. I'm absolutely happy for that flow to come to me, but yeah, it's the thought that someone puts into it. It's the effort that they put into it is what I feel.
So next question. Absolutely, it's not the value that matters in most cases. It's somebody who considerate enough to go and buy something. Okay, now let's say that you're on a tight budget. One of your friends, family, whoever you normally get is on a tight budget and says to you that this year they won't be able to. How would you take that? Would you take that in a negative way, or be really like, wow?
Not at all. Yeah.
It wouldn't bother you.
No, definitely wouldn't. Definitely would not.
If anything, you'd be impressed at the fact they had the courage to actually. Yeah. So, guys, don't be frightened of having that word with people. If you normally give gifts and it's a pattern you've created and a habit, but you want to reduce that circle of your friends or family where you give, speak it. It's okay. Don't keep it inside. Have that conversation. I promise you that people will encourage you and be proud of you, and it'll be a nice conversation. You shouldn't be frightened. So the first thing you're going to all go and do is you're going to do your budgeting exercise. Work out what's coming in after tax, and work out your essential costs, and work out what's left over. If you're only left over with £500, okay, a month, but actually you're spending £500 per head for Christmas, or for 4 of you, you see, you've got the problem already there, okay? So you've got to pull back. And children survive without presents, guys, okay? Lots of presents. A little tip, and I'm doing it for my son. Honest to God, they don't care if it's brand new or not, okay? So if you're going to buy an electronic device, or maybe one of them dinosaurs with a remote control, there's another child that's had it bought brand new a couple of years and outgrown it. I promise you they've outgrown it. So go to charity shops, okay? Kids don't care, okay? Put the batteries in, wrap it up. They don't care, because really they're going to play with it a few times and it's back on the shelf again, okay? So think about how much you're benefiting the charity in that moment, how much you're saving you and your family, and you're helping an amazing good cause as well. And you're reducing the carbon footprint.
Exactly. Okay? Yes.
So many wins in that. It's untrue. Okay. So don't be shy. I'm going to admit this 10 years ago, whatever. If I was having this dialogue with myself, I would have struggled because I would have feel like I'm not being fair to my children. I'm not giving them enough. And they should have that at least. But I promise you, my kids are now 20 and nearly 18 and a 5-year-old. They have grown up to be fine young men, and it really isn't making a difference if they got something new or secondhand. Okay.
Absolutely.
So you can buy some amazing secondhand stuff. Christmas dresses, you've got parties, stop going online, traipsing through online and ordering random stuff to your home, which is costing you money, and then you're wearing it once and it's back in the cupboard. We have not had a Christmas last year, so you should have stuff in your cupboard. So I'm having a sustainable Christmas myself, and I went to Bury Hospice and I wanted something new. And I bought something for £20, and in that was a piece of jewelry as well. So, did I feel embarrassed? I was going to, I'm a financial advisor. I mean, why would I do that? But I didn't do it for money. I did it for sustainability.
Exactly.
I feel that if every one of us just made one decision like that, just one, forget loads, one, we would make a massive difference to that charity and to the planet. So let's all make that difference. And we're also then working with the inflation. We are now understanding that the cost of living is going up, and it's not coming down, it's going up. Yeah, and you must recognize your bill. Are your bills going up, Una? Are you recognizing some difference?
Yeah, I'm seeing it. I mean, one of the other things is to make sure you're reviewing your bills. Like I'm not a person who sells this. I know people who do, but I use Utility Warehouse. That's what we have for our home bills, and they do seem to be cheaper in most instances and things. So, yeah, we can see it going up. Thankfully, not as much. We also have a cashback card, so we've got taught a clever trick because we don't actually do a lot of shopping. Most thing I buy is fabric for my sewing. But even then, I will go to charity shops and I will refashion clothes and I'll buy, fabric. Like I've made things from duvet covers and blankets and things. I had a skirt on yesterday, which looks like a Burberry skirt, but it was actually a blanket that I got from the British Heart Foundation last year. I made a skirt and a hat from it.
The moment you shared that information, you were proud. Okay, you
Yeah,
felt
absolutely.
You achieved something in that, and that also brings me to you can adjust your own old clothes. Okay, you can, if you can't sew, find a local seamster and ask them to do some adjustments. Put some stuff on, take some stuff off, adjust it. You can do that and make
And
it.
YouTube, like there's so many videos on YouTube and things on Instagram and everywhere that if you don't know how to do these things, you can learn. You can learn yourself. I mean, I think alterations typically would be. It depends. See, if people are buying clothes that are not great quality, but they tend to have lots of things, only wear them a small number of times and then get rid of them because they're into that whole fashion in out in out in out cycle, then typically the clothes they have, they're not worth altering. But if you actually buy fewer things and then alter them as and when you need to, if required, then these are the things that will last years and years and years. And so I think sometimes it just takes a bit of thought and actually planning in the way that we talk about doing meal planning for food, and then you don't have food wastage. It's exactly the same for clothes. I mean, it really was when I got into making my own clothes that I found out a lot more about the fashion industry and about how big the clothes landfill is, a problem with fast fashion. So, and that's one of the things that I'm aiming to do is to make things that will last. And that and I do have some kind of cheaper stuff I got when I was first learning to sew. I'm kind of gradually working my way through it, but for the most part now I'm doing my best to buy natural fiber things that will be recycled much more easily and not have an effect on the planet either through washing, by polyester little things kind of coming out, and also just in what happens to it then when it goes into landfill. Yeah, I think just the fact of just buying, think of Italian people, right? Anyone who's ever been to Italy, like most people, they look amazing, But you know what's interesting is that they tend to have much, much fewer clothes than people in the UK would, but they buy better quality things, you know. And yeah, it's interesting. So Debbie's just watching now. Sustainable fashion has been a massive driving force for her business. Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to say. So Debbie actually has a business called Lola Pops, and she makes handmade children's clothes. So, and all the fabrics that she uses are what's called Ocotex. So they actually have been made in a sustainable way. And I think they're all cotton. Debbie can let me know if I'm wrong on that. So yeah, so the thing is that there's a lot that we can do, and I think it's changing. We have to change our mindsets. You know, I'll often go to a charity shop, you know, looking for fabric, but sometimes I'll pick up something else, and it is that thing of, you know, I'm only going to buy it if it suits me and I like it and it's in reasonable, you know, it's in good condition. You'd be amazed what you can find. And I think it's getting away from the idea of, it's not necessarily, you know, some people might go, oh, that's penny pinching, or, you know, you should only do that if you can't afford to do other things. But you and I both can afford.
Absolutely. And I'm in the process of buying a home, you know, and I can't afford it.
Yeah.
But I've also realized that when you get a mortgage, you have to pay an interest, okay? And a series of 25 years for a £200,000 borrowing, you could be paid up to 100,000 more just in the interest alone, guys. And I'm saying, why not put that extra money into your mortgage to reduce that? That brings me to another little point. And I was having a networking event, and there was loads of mums there. Are you organised for Christmas? And I said, well, the honest truth is I'm not buying much. They get 3 items and something to read, something smelly. Well, there's 4, and something they really need. You know, so when we need like a need and want, both are the same. You know, a nice expensive jumper, would you say, or something, and something to eat, so some chocolates or something. So, you know, we created that quite a few years, and it's a really good little way of reducing them gift numbers. Okay. But this brings me to, and she was saying, oh yeah, I find it really stressful, but I'm super organized. What it is, you know, so my husband's parents live X, Y, and Z, and the elderly, and my parents are elderly, but they give me money, and I have to go out and buy gifts for my children, and then I have to wrap it up. And I said to her, but why do you buy the gift? She goes, because then there's something to open from them.
Right.
Said, but why don't you change that? Why don't you put the money in the envelope and encourage them to save for something of an experience? So they might want to do karate, or I don't know, some, you know, skiing or something, or encourage them to save towards something, because that would be an amazing life skill to give your children.
Definitely.
And she said, oh, I've never thought of that, but maybe from next year, because she was putting herself under all that stress.
Exactly.
Reality is they're getting loads of presents at birthday parties every year, then from the parents, and then for Christmas. Kids are getting more than they need nowadays, and that has to change. And this society of us keep giving is something that we're creating. So that was one thing that I noticed, that, you know, she was like, oh, well, I didn't think, you know, that £20 in a jar, encouraging them to save, is a really amazing life skill to have. So when they go out and buy something, they do it with their own money, and they kind of get the understanding of the value of money. So what gift would you rather give your child? A value of just being wasteful in life, or a value of being saving? Okay. I'm coming from a place of an expertise in money, but I've also been a person that made all the mistakes. So as the saying goes, wisdom comes with age and experience. I get that. But what if you can gift it a little bit earlier?
Exactly.
Just that little bit earlier. It could make a huge difference.
And it could even be, if they didn't have a savings account, you could open one up on their behalf, you know, for people, for children that are under a certain age, and they don't need to be the one doing the signing. So yeah, I mean, I remember that being done for me when I was a child. In fact, I remember when I was a teenager, like, I still had my communion money.
Absolutely.
So, because I had those to my parents. I somehow lost them along the way somehow, and then I had to get them back again. but yeah, it makes a big difference.
Good little skill. And now that brings me to my next point, guys. While you are thinking of going next week or whenever, or online to shop for that half an hour. I want to convert that time and give it back to you in a valuable way. I want you to go around your homes and find things that you're not using, guys. And you're going to have stuff, lots of stuff that you don't use anymore. And I want you to sell, okay? And I want you to start selling those in your house that no longer serve you but could serve somebody else, and start building a little pot of money just by selling the things that are just there and you don't use it. The armchair, I don't know, the dress, the coat, the list goes on. Something from your ex-partner that you sat there and you're thinking, don't even like it, and you've locked it away in the cupboard. Get it out. Get it sold and get some money, and use that money for a bit of treat money for next year. So sell the items that you no longer use. You can get good money for them. There's so many different ways of selling now. There's eBay, there's Facebook, marketplace, and people do buy things. I completely appreciate it takes your time, but it'll be time well spent. And if you do it, you could be teaching your children. So their old Christmas present could be going on and that they're not using, and they're decluttering your home, so decluttering your mind at the same time, and it's a win-win. So sell the items you don't use.
I think it's a great idea. I'm going to share, Debbie's just commented, we're getting our children a Go Henry card. I don't know what that is, but she says they have to earn money by doing jobs and spend their own money on treats throughout the year. That sounds like a great scheme. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've used Go Henry cards with my when they were growing up, and they are very, very good at you can put money on the Go Henry, and when the child goes out, it's like a card, and they basically spend it like you would.
Yeah. Oh, it's a prepaid card.
The Henry card says there's a monthly amount that they charge you, which is quite high, and which I found quite easy. Yeah. So it's a prepaid card. So that's a really good way, because kids love that kind of contactless. So it allows you to do the contactless kind of tap.
Yeah.
And the child then also gets a full breakdown of what they spent, and you also get alerts, and it kind of goes, wow, I spent so much money quickly, and it's really, really good exercise to do with your children. So yes, absolutely agree with that. And yeah, give them money for chores. It's a nice way to teach them, instead of just not. Even if it's 50p a pound, it soon adds up and it makes that difference. Another one I have for you is this, and somebody shared this with was Christmas wrapping paper. Okay, it's paper, and again, we're talking about sustainability, how we want to be more sustainable. Wrapping paper, the amount that's used is unbelievable over Christmas, because we want everything to look pretty and wrap nicely. So throughout the year, for next year, my tip would be collect old magazines if you find them. And everybody does old newspapers as well. Okay, collect them, and you can make some amazing wrapping paper just out of that. Okay, you can cut out things that if they're into fashion, so you might have loads of like clothes kind of stuff, but you can create your own wrapping paper as well. So again, a fun activity to do with the children throughout the year, but start building some using old paper to kind of
great. I don't know if it's just me, or
and even now when you're unwrapping your presents, get the sheets, open them up neatly, and try to keep them. And you
open
put
things
them underneath
carefully,
the bedroom, the bed, the mattress, and just flatten them out, and you can use them for another time. I recycle birthday bags constantly, like a birthday and I literally take the label off, I put a new label on, and off it goes.
Yeah.
Because we don't need
We've
to
got
waste all that stuff.
drawer thing
And people
for wrapping paper and those bags.
don't care, and kids don't care. The tiny little sustainability.
Absolutely. I think the other thing is please don't buy shiny wrapping paper.
Yeah.
You know, the foil wrapping paper and things, because it can't be recycled. So wrapping paper can. Oh, I don't know what's going on.
I can't hear you right now.
Okay, Debbie, can you let me know? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So
good
yeah,
little,
not sure.
Good little thing. And another one is, why don't you become creative?
So yeah, I know you can't hear me, but I just wanted to kind of finish
out there.
this
Sorry,
point.
guys, some technical problems. But
yeah, so what we're hearing is, Naz, you're breaking up. So I tell you what, do you want to come off and come back on again? Because you're breaking up. Or maybe we probably nearly finished anyway. But I just want to say, wrapping paper. So one of the things that's happening is that apologies for the bad connection, folks, but we're almost done. So yeah, with the wrapping paper, if you don't buy foil, then it can be recycled, but also a lot of the time you can reuse it. So you might want to cut off some bits where sellotape has been. I would also advise you to use the Scotch tape instead of sellotape, because it comes off so much more easily, and then that way people can open the present without ripping all the paper, and then that paper can be reused. So yes, that's another thing you can do, as well as I like that idea, the magazines. That we don't get newspapers, but to be honest, I don't get magazines either. But I'm sure there are places that you can get them. And so that, why not have a whole load of friends come together and actually make the paper, make it a bit of an event in the run up to Christmas, and then everyone goes away with their paper and wraps their presents in, the privacy of their own home or something. So yeah, that would be great. Just want to share a comment from Debbie here. She took her girls shopping this week to buy a gift for more needy children in the local community, made them appreciate the cost of items, and that other children out there don't get a lot of Christmas, and they use some of their own money as well. So fantastic. They absolutely loved it, and so did I. She says that bit didn't quite reach. There's something else that I'd like to say as well, and I'll pop it in the comments in a moment. So there's the other thing you can do is you can actually donate money to a charity on somebody else's behalf. And that's something we're going to be doing a lot of. So some of you may know that every time people buy from my company, we give back through an organization called B1G1. So some people are going to be getting gifts along those lines, because they put together some Christmas bundles, which can be like a small e-card or bigger price bundles. But it's lots of giving, and it's like, you're kind of like, oh wow, because I appreciate you, this is what you've done, and that can provide a real warm, fuzzy for people as well. Especially if you think about, or if you know what is it that they care about. For some people, they might be really passionate about education or women's rights, or kind of water and environmental things. So what is the thing that the recipient cares about? And then that can be a way that you can give in a very sustainable way, particularly for environmental projects as well, that actually your money is going to help something, but then the recipient gets that warm, fuzzy feeling as well. So great. Nazia, the picture looks clearer, so I'm hoping you're back with us now. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, yeah. Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you again now.
Yeah, absolutely agree with everything you've said about the giving. And Debbie, absolutely, I've done the same thing about making the children give out their own money to somebody else. It is really, really important that we teach our children to basically give as well than just receiving as well. It's a really important skill to have. My last point was just going to be, if you are creative and you know how to make jams, cookies, or anything delightful in the kitchen, or are creative with your hands, creating things is a great way of saving at Christmas as well. And people love that little bit of energy that you've put in to create something. So if you're out of work at the moment and really struggling, create something. Everybody's got some skills, making a card or a frame and kind of doing something. People would love it, even if it's like designing a little something to hang on the tree for them. People love them personalized gifts as well. If you think about Christmas markets, that's what they're all about. Personalized gifts, people love them because they were made for them. And so do not ever forget, you all have a skill, and you could basically look in and see what that skill looks like. Years ago, I made jewelry when I was a young girl, and I still have fond memories of buying all the kit and making jewelry to sell. So when I get the time, at the moment I'm limited, I will make jewelry, because you can make some amazing magical little things and people love it. So yeah, be creative. That's what I'd say.
Absolutely. And if you think you can't do it, before I started learning to sew, I mean, I could sew on a button, but I wouldn't do it because I didn't think I liked it. And actually, okay, so to be fair, sewing on a button isn't as exciting as making a garment to me. But I really was like doubtful. It's like, am I going to like this? I wanted the outcome, but I wasn't sure I would be able to do it or I would like doing it. But I thought, you know what? I'm just going to give it a go. I didn't even buy a sewing machine at the beginning. I kind of went and had some lessons, but what I can share with you, like there are tons of YouTube videos out there teaching you how to make very simple, cost-effective Christmas gifts. So if you think you can't, believe me, you actually can. So just change your mindset on that. And again, it can be something that you can get other people involved in. If it's for your children and you don't want to get them involved, get a few of your friends together and have a bit of a crafternoon, as one of my friends calls it. And yeah, you'd be amazed what you can do. I did this actually for my clients last year. I'm not doing it this year because things have grown and it was too big a job. I'm doing some different things this year. But like people really appreciated getting a handmade gift. So yeah, give it a go. Don't be afraid to do it. So yeah, it can be a lot of fun.
So on that note, I'm going to say, guys, I think that was a lot of big shares on my side, and Una has as well. So have a sustainable Christmas. Do not have a Christmas on your credit card. It's just not worth it. Declutter your mind, declutter your homes, and make Christmas what it's meant to be, about time with your loved ones, quality time. How much you spend this year, because you didn't spend last year, really doesn't matter. And yes, restaurants are open, and I'm all about supporting businesses, but look at what you can afford before you go out supporting businesses.
Definitely.
Even I notice people that have small bit ladies have businesses, and I notice they're constantly buying another thing to support the other person. It's great, and I love to see that. But if you haven't got it in your budget, it's okay to say no. Okay, what matters is your health is linked to your financial well-being. If you overspend, you're only going to have a very negative start to the year. So let's make that year start in a positive way and keep the spending as low as possible. So that's me.
Yeah, I think there's just one thing that I want to say, which is, we've talked a lot in this series about abundance. We've talked a lot about, having a positive attitude around money, improving your relationship with money. And I want people to understand that this isn't a contradiction to that. Actually, the healthier your attitude to money is and your relationship with money it is, the more okay you are going to be with not overspending. Abundance doesn't mean getting yourself into debt unnecessarily where there's no chance of a return on it. There are times when it can make sense to make an investment on borrowings. Perhaps if you're in the property game or you're investing something in your business, whether that's new tools or coaching or advice, whatever it might be. But because you're going to get a return on those things when you choose wisely around them. But overspending at Christmas, it's just pure debt, and it's quite often done to impress other people. And even if it's not done from a status point of view, it's often done from a what will other people think of me if I don't do this point of view. And just really, I think this last, period of time with everything that's happened, I think it has definitely had an impact on some people to get them thinking differently. By, traditions and patterns of behavior, they can be hard to shift sometimes. So, if what I do want you to think, if you're watching this and thinking, drat, I wish I'd done some of these things, but now it's too late. Why don't you put a reminder in your calendar for next year? Put it in for, I don't know, September, October time, to remind yourself, okay, and go through all the tips. I put them in the comments, and go back through them and make a list. Okay, what do you want to do next year? Okay, or even put the link to, if you have an online calendar, put the link to this and watch it again next September, October time, and put some of these things into action, because it will make a difference. And really, I think the focus, the real original focus of any holidays, like not just Christmas, but all the other ones from all kinds of religious or non-religious situations, it's really all about people and the time you spend together and the relationships. And I think sometimes stuff, the presents and things, it can just get in the way of that, so focus on what's important.
Absolutely, and how you've said it so perfectly. I couldn't have said it any other way. That brings me to just one other point that just came into my mind was money, okay, and gifts don't fix relationships, guys.
No.
Yeah, do not be in any illusion that big gift when your relationship is struggling, it ain't gonna fix anything, okay? What you need is not the gifts are not going to make a difference, guys. So stop fixing things through stuff. Okay, fix the issue, resolve that, and come to the understanding it, but not with the stuff. It doesn't make it. The stuff really does not make a difference. Okay, what matters is that you have a healthy mind and a good mindset. And Una made a point that set a reminder for September. I'm going to add, actually, from January, you're going to start budgeting. Okay, you're going to put something away every month, okay, ready for Christmas. So that's going to be your Christmas budget. It could be a jar, okay, if it's going to be too complicated to open a sub account from your main account, or £50 a month, but you're going to put it away for Christmas. And you're going to do the exercise over Christmas and New Year and work out, what do I actually want to spend per head, okay? And so you're going to then think, oh, okay, it's, I don't know, £100 per head, but what if I sold X, Y, and Z? Actually, I could get all that money. So think, and you can think from January, guys. You don't have to leave it right till the last minute.
Exactly. Yeah. And, there's so many bank accounts now where you can have little pots. Like I've been doing that. I've been putting money aside because I want to go back and visit my family again in Ireland next year. And so basically the minute I've been, I start saving for the next trip. And that's what I'm doing now. And it's great because then it's there. I just kind of go, great, I've got money for flights. I've got spending money for when I'm over there. I don't need to think about it. It's just happening automatically. So yeah, you can do that for Christmas. You can do that for any kind of occasions, for your holidays, all of that. It's just, get your mindset right, get focused on taking these actions to improve your money situation, your relationship with money, how you feel about it. And you will thank yourself for doing that. So yes, listen, this is our last money and mindset session that we're doing here together. I have my marketing, branding, getting the sale, which now happens on a Tuesday morning at 8:15 p.m. Nazia is going to carry on doing money and mindset sessions, and maybe I'll come and guest on them occasionally. I just have a lot because of my Sheely's business podcast that I'll be starting recording again next year. In January. It's a time thing, unfortunately. I've really enjoyed doing these sessions with you, Nazia, so thank you very much for that. Thank you everybody who has been here with us and paying attention, and keep watching. And if you want to know more about improving your finances or improving your business, please feel free to reach out to us. We're absolutely happy to have any kind of confidential, no obligation chats with you as well.
Perfectly said, Una. Thank you very much, guys. It's been amazing supporting us. And yes, Una will still be around, but we won't be doing these joint ones. But I've loved working with you, Una, and hopefully, who knows how our lives are gonna cross paths again.
Absolutely, of course we will. Awesome. Bye for now, everybody. Have a fantastic time over the holidays, and all the best for the new year as well. Bye for now.